It's a Foodie Friday here on KFGO. It Takes Two with Amy and JJ and Stacy, one of our all-time favorite people. I love telling the story every time Stacy's in. Amy and I cold called, okay, on the Emergency Food Pantry. And we came in, we're like, hey, could we please speak with whoever's in charge? And the person who is running the front desk said, I don't know. I think she's out packing boxes right now. And instantly we were like, oh boy. Someone who's at the head of an organization who's doing the actual grunt work themselves. This person has been on the floor, knows exactly what's going on. And then Stacy gave us a whole tour of the Emergency Food Pantry. And I don't think that people really realize how many individuals you're serving in our community, Stacy. So can you tell us a little bit about the journey of the Emergency Food Pantry?
Absolutely. We've been around for actually 5 decades. And one of the things we really are proud of is just being able to help people who are in our community. So in 2025, the number of people we served is actually about 24,000 people. Take a minute. Unique people. Take a minute to think about our population in Fargo-Moorhead, 1 in 10. And I think that hunger is really hidden when you think about the people who actually chose to come to the Emergency Food Pantry out of all the other options that are available. They needed food. And so it's just really neighbors helping neighbors. It's an amazing place to work, and the team is phenomenal to make sure that we're getting healthy options for people that are in need.
This time of year when we're seeing all that garden produce out is also the time of year when we want to call up people like Stacy at the Emergency Food Pantry and remind people that if they have an abundance of garden goodies, that you'll also take those.
Absolutely. So Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, people can drop them off themselves. However, the master gardeners from NDSU also have some sites on Monday evenings. And so if you go home, do some picking that produce, and then being able to drop it off on a Monday evening, they'll actually get it to us on a Tuesday morning if that's something that you can't go. So if you're interested in stopping by yourself, it's 1101 4th Avenue North in Fargo. Again, Monday through Friday from 8 to 4.
Okay, so we know now that let's talk about this. What's the difference between the Emergency Food Pantry and the Great Plains Food Bank and West Fargo Eats? And we hear about all of these organizations, and you're all necessary in your own way, but you are all just a little bit different and the same at the same time.
So good to talk about that. I think over the years, it's been something that people just really have a hard time grasping. So when you go to the grocery store, you're just literally going there and getting food. And that's what you can think of like Emergency Food Pantry and a lot of the other food shelves or food pantries in the community. Great Plains Food Bank is the food bank, thinking about them as a grocery warehouse. So they're providing food to the places that are in need, that are kind of more of that in person. And I think the important thing is we're really working on a network. So we know that we're there 5 days a week, a couple evenings each month to be able to provide food. But sometimes the location in North Fargo or downtown Fargo isn't somewhere that somebody can get to. So we have a number of other food pantries that we're all independent, but we work well together to make sure that people at different times of the day or different areas of Fargo-Moorhead are able to get food that's available.
Because you're really filling like an acute need, like in real time. And a lot of the, places like the Emergency Food Pantry are doing that. You are specific in like how you serve people, the amount of times you serve people, and when you serve people. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, so we actually try to offer a full week's worth of food when people arrive. And so really thinking about giving that full week every other month. We know that we're not providing 100% of the food that people need, but I think it's when people are presenting and saying, I cannot afford food right now. I need to figure out how to have medication for my kids. I need to figure out how to pay the electrical bill. Anytime that somebody's feeling crunched, please reach out to us. If you've never been, just pop in during our hours or also make a phone call. And so I think one of the unique things about us is really having a full week's worth of food, and we give as much choice as we're able to. So that fresh produce that we were talking about, we have it laid out within an area where shelves and fridges are available, so people get a chance to choose what are those foods they're bringing home.
Yeah, I love that. I love the power of choice in that too. We all want a choice in what we're eating.
I also really appreciate you told us a story the first time we came and toured about how the average person who comes through is maybe only using 1 or 2 weeks, right? And so something happened in their life, their family's life, like gosh, we have to replace the tires on our car. And have you seen the price of tires these days? Oh my gosh. And so we had to decide, do we keep the tires so we can get to school and get to work, but we're going to be low on food? And so that idea that, because I think a lot of us in our mind are like, oh, it's the Emergency Food Pantry. You see the same people every single week. But in all honesty, you're seeing people who are utilizing this in small amounts to help bridge that gap.
Yep, absolutely true. I see that year over year. And what we recognize is a little bit this spring, we've seen people a little more than they have compared to last year. So the numbers are showing that maybe the average might go up to visiting us 3 times for the year. But we really think of ourselves as a part of a way to get food out to people. And many are working. So it's really just those times that you're down and out and just don't really have another option.
Food prices are going up, so it doesn't surprise me to hear that, people might be making an extra visit to the Emergency Food Pantry, but that's also going up for you as well. Now, I know you have a big network, right? So you have a network where you're able to get these things. Obviously, it's great when someone does a food drive. Hey, schools out there, fall is a great time to do a food drive, okay? So get a food drive and pack those things and get it ready. And sometimes I would say even reach out to the Emergency Food Pantry and say, like, when we did that peanut butter drive here, people liked being like, oh, I got to get peanut butter, and that's what I'm going to bring. But I'm also going to bring like a dozen toothbrushes while I'm also there at the same time. Do you get a lot of schools who call in and say, we want to do something, but we don't really know what to do?
Yep, we do. We get businesses, schools, service clubs, that sort of thing. I would say right now, as we're speaking, one of the things the Emergency Food Pantry is in great need of is protein. So the general public, peanut butter, canned beans, dry beans, any of those types of non-perishables, please think about donating that. If you have the finances, even donating dollars right now is going to really help us get some of the protein that we're low on.
Well, let's talk about dollars for a quick second, because that kind of brings us back to the food bank. You can make your dollar really stretch when you're buying from the food bank. So when someone gives you, $20, you're really stretching it a long ways because you've got some good buying power. And like the food bank is making that accessible, still charging you, but at a really accessible rate.
Absolutely. And I think when we look at everything, because we get so many pounds of food donated throughout the year, when somebody gives us $1, stretching that out over the quarter or the year, we can actually provide 3 meals for that $1. Now, this situation right now, we're going to go buy protein, but again, it's recognizing that that's something that we are able to really capture the other foods that are available to us in order to keep our costs down.
Okay, I'm thinking right now, you're looking for non-perishables when it comes to proteins, and you named a lot of things, Stacy, but I think of like tuna, right? It's like one of those things where you can do so much with that. The canned chicken, the canned fishes, all of those things, even probably, like Spam, right? Like all these things that provide it. And certainly there's people who don't necessarily eat meat, but then there are people who say like, yeah, this makes me feel like I'm being fed when I'm able to have a meat protein.
I am so glad you mentioned that, yes. And I'm going to just tell you a little fun fact about Spam. So Spam is actually gluten-free. So when you think about people who might be having issues with some dietary needs, it's something that's easy to come by, it's easy to have available. So thank you for bringing up all those canned or pouched meats as well. Again, you feel like you're having more nourishment. We're knowing that we're giving people more of those high-density calories.
Pouched meat. I love that term. I'm going to start using it every day.
Why did I know you were going to latch onto that?
I know. I've got 3 pouched meats in my desk right now. I can't wait. I'm very excited about this.
I actually just bought the canned chicken recently. I hadn't bought it in so long, but I just wanted an easy button. And it was like a chicken salad recipe. And I was like, that's kind of good.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of good.
Listen, when we do like Mexican night at our house, I was so sick and tired of just the straight up we're going to do beef. So we did canned chicken for that as well. And it's not the canned chicken you think of from like the 60s. It is much different. It's a great thing to have, and you can get them in those different sizes. And so I imagine like a family being able to come in and get canned chicken, that makes a huge difference. Okay, and I want to touch on this too, Stacy, because I know you're very busy. We're leading up into like the holiday months, right? So before you know it, it's going to be Thanksgiving. If there is a business out there who wants to do something like sponsor 100 turkeys or something like that, what kind of ability do you have for something along those lines? Or a rancher who says, gosh, we could do, like two beef cows or something like that. What's the ability of the Emergency Food Pantry for a donation like that?
Yeah, we have a walk-in fridge and walk-in freezer, so we would gladly accept that. Some of the things that are coming from livestock, just reach out to us. We need to follow USDA guidelines and things like that to make sure that we have everything processed in a way. And of course, we just want to make sure that we're looking all that up, but we have the space for that. And I think that generosity, there are some businesses who give meat at the time of Christmas or other holidays that are happening. If there's any of those left over, as long as they've been under that fridge or freezer, temperature, we will gladly be able to either pick that up or have that dropped off to us.
We mentioned this earlier, but spices.
Oh, spices are amazing. So, we try really hard to have a nice variety of food at the food pantry, including eggs and milk and canned goods. But some of the stuff, when you think about just plain meat and canned goods, it's not very tasty. So again, spices are amazing. They need to be in, the regular packaged, unopened items, and so that would be much appreciated. Yeah. We see the glow on people's faces when they get a choice to choose those spices.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the same with us, right? We love our spice cupboard being full and making things more delicious. It was when we talked to West Fargo Eats, they had just mentioned that someone had been down at the cities. And speaking of also Trader Joe's, that was just mentioned on our show earlier this week, they had been down in the cities and just bought a box full of cheap Trader Joe's spices and had donated to that. And I was like, that is such a good idea and such a pro tip if you're going to be around a Trader Joe's. They do have really accessibly priced spices. So bring them back and drop them off with Stacy and all of these amazing food pantries in our area, because those are lovely items to have as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much for thinking about it, because it's the whole meal. I was talking to a mom recently, and she really talked about her relationship with food. And so at times she would skip meals so her kids could eat, but she really has been able to shop at different places, find the sales at different places, every few months come into the food pantry. And she said she is actually enjoying meals. And when we think about that, sometimes when we're in survival mode and can't necessarily pay our bills and feed our kids, now there's a way to actually sit down and say, we're eating as a family. And that's huge. It is much more than just food.
I love it. You always tell the best stories and you're doing the best work.
Yeah, thank you very much, Stacy. And of course, if someone is listening to this and they're like, we want to help, you can donate easily right on your website too. So if you want to be able to donate dollars, you can do that. If you want to get a food drive going, of course, get that. I think we're all excited about the fact that, kids are going back to school right now, which makes a huge difference for a lot of those families. And, there's programs to make sure that we're feeding kids in schools as well too. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't necessarily help in the evenings on the weekends, depending on where you're at. And so thank goodness at a place like the Emergency Food Pantry. And also, we don't do this enough. Shout out to your volunteers, too. They're the best.
Oh, yes. We have about 1,000 volunteers help us eat each year, and just amazing. So thanks for the time to highlight the hidden hunger that's in Fargo Moorhead.
Stacy Loegering is the executive director of the Emergency Food Pantry. One more time, how do they find you online?
Emergencyfoodpantry.com.
Every time she says it, I'm like, isn't it so cool that we got that.com? Like, we being Fargo?
Yeah, it really, it's a small miracle if you're going to say anything.
Stacy, thank you so much.
Awesome. Appreciate it.